just a little bit about the big idea behind wallFour. There's clearly a huge difference between watching a sporting event at home and participating in watching sport in a stadium. Just as there is with listening to music at home, in a festival, and film, of course, there is, I would argue, a bigger difference between viewing a film in a cinema and at home than just their screen is bigger than yours, or their surround sound system is bigger than yours. There is something else going on here. And as I'll explain in a second, we come from a video games background, and we're very interested in play. And so we're really asking this question, what's the equivalent for play? Is there such a thing? Should there be? That's where we are. Crowd games, live events, collaborative play at live events. So, just to explain, there's two of us that set this up. John Sear, who's not here today, and myself. And we both worked in AAA game development before doing this. We also worked in games education, which is how we came to know each other at the University of Derby, creating an award-winning course there, getting students into the video games industry. But we have kind of a lifetime of interest in play, and that's driving this. So we've created a system that we're using now to produce content. That's not necessarily the only system we would ever create, but this is how it works. We're building interactive cinema by giving everybody in the audience a laser pen, and by tracking in real time the positions of their lasers on the screen. We turn cinema screens into giant multi-touch surfaces, and with digital projection, of course, we can produce a real-time image in response to this. So really this creates a feedback loop between the audience and the projection, allowing them to interact with it. An interesting point, though, is that this system is anonymous. It's not possible for us to distinguish between members of the audience. So one thing we're not doing is competitive games, where the audience is divided into teams and fighting against each other or whatever. Our work is entirely about collaborative play. And also, that anonymity, I think, really encourages people to play in ways that they wouldn't if you asked them to stand up in front of a Kinect and wave their arms around in front of a room full of people. Not everyone likes to do that. So more specifically, what we've created with this platform is a piece of feature-length content which is currently touring film festivals. It's called Renga. It's not the first thing we made, but it's the largest thing we've made with this. And so this is not a cinema, obviously, but this is a festival event in a tent where 100 people are interacting with the screen. You can kind of make out the laser pointers in that image. And this is about, it doesn't really come up in this light. You can just about see that the laser beams in that image. If we darkened the room, it would be clearer. So the game is really about getting the audience to collaborate with each other. The audience is the theme, if you like. We invite them to organise themselves, and we're very particular about not telling them what to do, but inviting them to play and to explore how to organise themselves. And the game mechanics centre around certain things that force them to do that, essentially. But it doesn't tell them how. Very quickly also, I should mention, it's not a game in the conventional sense, in that it does have a fairly predictable running time and was designed to run to about 70 minutes. And it has a tutorial that, if you like, forms Act 1 of the experience. And then it gets into the main game, which is the heart of the experience, that lasts about 35 minutes. And that alternates between two phases, and the audience goes back and forth until they can reach a certain point, which is clear to them that they're aspiring to achieve together. And that enables them to progress into the end game. So in a sense, it is like film because it has a dramatic arc and a fairly predictable running time. Not as predictable as a film, though, unfortunately. It does vary slightly. So just to wrap up, really, I wanted to explain where we are and where we're going. We've done this on a shoestring, self-funded, and we've had great success so far in getting attention and great feedback. And we sort of feel like early filmmakers in the sense that we are building the cameras, shooting the film, and distributing and exhibiting it ourselves, because we're actually travelling around doing this show live. So a little earlier in the year, we were screened at South by Southwest as a film on the film festival there, which was a great step for us. This was about 6 months in. And more recently, I broke my wrist at Sheffield Dockfest, which is why it's this colour, because that's the signature colour of Dockfest. Roller disco, drinking. Not a good combination. Great party though. Coming up later in the year, we've got a lot of travel and a lot of festivals. The biggest festival of which is Toronto International, who approached us and wanted to put us on. But also the Palo Alto International, which is a young, much smaller festival, has made us their opening film. They're really keen on what we're doing, and they're also trying to sell us to companies in the Valley as a corporate gig while we're out there. Which is all great, except this is not a business model, right? This is a lifestyle, which is quite fun for me, but not for my wife. So what we've done just a few weeks ago is join an incubator and get into a space where we can find the support and start to think differently, if you like, about this, and to really get to say, okay, clearly there's something of value here. What's the business model around that? And that's where we are right now. Thanks.